This doesn't make any sense. A new guest feature.
The first guest feature.
Well, first guest feature.
Is this live?
It is.
On the show today. Okay, how about this? Hello and welcome, I'm Dylan Corset and this is episode 10 of the Ask DK show. So, Moira.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, I'm very excited.
Thank
So, there's a couple of questions I want to ask you on behalf of our viewers. So tell us a little bit about how you started your entrepreneurial journey. When did you start your story?
Okay, I have to think about that now. It was in 2015. I left my job at a really big law firm where I was earning a very nice, comfortable salary. And I decided that I was going to start my own online business, and I have no idea why, because I didn't know anything about online and I didn't know anything about anything really. So I just cashed in my pension fund, and then I used that money to get me through the first couple of months where you literally just spend your life on Google. That's what I did, because I didn't know that there were even such things as incubators at that stage. I literally knew nothing. So I just sat in my parents' house and Googled like how to start a business, literally. And I read a lot of Entrepreneur Mag and things like that. And
So
then I was like,
Did you ever cross your mind to maybe do that while you were earning the big paycheck, or did you just not have
no,
the
I didn't
time?
have time when I was earning a big paycheck, and I just thought if I don't quit, I'm never going to do it. So I'm just going to quit, and I don't have kids yet, and I'm not married, that's, you know, now's the time to kind of do it. And obviously it was incredibly scary, because it was like, well, what if it doesn't work out? But then I thought, well, then I'll just get a job again. So it's not really,
Low risk.
yeah, it's not the end of the world. I'm not supporting anyone, so it should be fine. Anyway, then I just Googled a bunch of stuff, and then I was like, oh, well, now what kind of business am I going to start? Like, didn't really know. And then I was like chatting to my dad, and he was like, oh, there's this new thing called crowdsourcing, and why don't you look into that? And I was like, okay, Google crowdsourcing, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I was like, how can I apply that to something that I actually have some kind of knowledge about? And then I was like, well, the only thing I really know is law. So then I was like crowdsourcing lawyers, and then I came upon the idea for Moira. So that was basically crowdsourced lawyers. So it's an online legal marketplace, and I was like, oh, there's nothing like that here. And they just started one in the States, so I kind of just copied that model. And then I had the idea, and then I was like, okay, how would I even implement this? So then I had to research like developers and how you develop a website, because I didn't know any, like literally nothing. So then I put together this little business plan, and I say business plan like this because it really, if I look at it now, it was like a piece of paper with some words on it that I wrote, like a little point form summary of my plan, which was ridiculous. And then I went to a friend of mine and I said, this is my business idea, and why don't you start it with me and leave your job too, because I can't do it alone. And then he miraculously said yes, and then we started putting together a pitch deck. So we researched how do you get funding for your idea. So then we put together this pitch deck and put so much effort into it. I don't know if it's like this mammoth thing. And then we went and we were having drinks with his family or something, and we just told them about our idea, and then his uncle was like, well, I'll give you the startup capital. Wow. That's a great idea. Amazing. So then that was our first little bit of funding, and that's how we actually got the idea off the ground. So we, you know, as they say now, I know, friends, fools, and family. So we got that from family, and then we developed Moira up, and you know, did the cold calling, and that was a real slog. But eventually, you know, it's just really more about relentlessness more than talent or ingenuity or IQ or EQ or anything.
Being too dumb to quit.
Yeah, like just keep doing it. I watched a great little clip this morning about grittiness, they called it. And they were saying that it's the most important indicator of success that there is. More than IQ or anything, it's just grit, like the will to continue and keep going even when you get kicked down like a million times or told no a million times. So even though we got told no a million times by like 500 lawyers, we got 30 that said yes, so then we were in business. And then, so Moira was working and that was great, and then I had the idea for Event Room because now I knew a bit about crowdsourcing and, you know, then I was like, okay, cool, well now I'll just start another business because why not? I'm an idiot. And you can see how little I knew.
What made you pick Event Room? The concept. Because Moira comes from the fact that you were a lawyer, so you knew the industry a bit, and you knew. So at least there was that connection.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
So Event Room. Well, I worked in events for about 8 months, and I knew from that experience that finding and sourcing a venue was always the first thing that you did, and it's always a nightmare because you have to phone around to all the different venues and blah. So there was no aggregator. So I had that knowledge of like the pain point, and then I went to a birthday party or a baby shower of a friend of mine was at her mom's house, a beautiful house, and I had a birthday coming up, and I went to her mom, Auntie Cheryl, as I call her. I was like, can I rent your house for my birthday party? Because it would be perfect for it, and there's nowhere else in Sunset West that would be so stunning, and you know. And then I was like, actually, this is a really good idea. It's like Airbnb for events. Like, I'm just going to rent you a garden for 2,000 rand, and I'm going to have like 20 of my mates over, and we're just going to have a braai. It's not like we're going to travel place. So then those two ideas came together to form Event Room. So it's venue sourcing, but also the unique venues. So people can put their houses on it. We've got like art galleries and lighthouses and all sorts of yachts, anything. You can list anything. And so it's a venue aggregator. So yeah, and then and Event Room just kind of then took off and grew a lot faster and a lot more easily than Moira did. So Moira kind of took a backseat, but still operating, and it kind of takes over on its own now. And then the funding question, which is everyone wants to know.
How did you get funding? Where did you get funding from?
We went to the funding fair.
Oh wow.
The Western Cape Funding Fair, and everyone should go there.
Yes.
Then they give you little booklets, and you can look at what all the different funders' mandates are, and you see which ones suit what you're doing, and then you approach them, and we literally just approached the ones who we felt would be interested in us. And then they each have kind of their own specific application process. So they direct you to their site, and they tell you to fill in a standardized application, and you know, we filled it out, and then we got funding, and now.
And did you have to give away a huge piece of equity to get your funding?
It's a minority, a significant minority that we give away. So you don't ever give away a majority. That's what I've been advised, but you have to, for the amount of funding that we required, you know, we spoke to a lot of different people, and we were advised that between 30 and 40% is reasonable. So that's.
And was it enough for you to do something with it? I mean, it took you to the next level. It didn't run out in 6 months, and you were begging again for money.
No. I mean, we are currently looking at another round, but no, it didn't run out because we did our projections properly, and we it took a lot of. It's not getting funding isn't something that you do easily.
No,
it's a lot of work. Forget your business plan. Like
no, it is.
That's the.
You've got to have all your financials in place, and
so you know your accountant really goes through hell when you do your applications for funding. Your 5-year projections and all of that great stuff, which you have to revise at least 20 times.
Which is all a good discipline to have gone through.
Yeah, I mean, you learn a
Yeah.
lot doing that as well, and you
Yeah.
learn a lot about your own business.
So would you ever go back to corporate?
No. Yeah, I mean, this journey has been the most trying and difficult thing I've ever done in my life, and I've cried more than I've ever cried. and am I allowed to swear or no?
Yeah.
I read a little clip from a book called The Founder's Journey or something, and it said at least once a week every founder has a whiffio moment, which means we're fucked, it's over. And that is so true, and that made me feel so much better because I was like, oh my god, is everyone else having a meltdown on a weekly basis, or is it only me?
Yeah.
Am I some kind of, you know?
I heard someone call it schizophrenia because you make a sale and you're like, yeah, you through
Yes.
the roof, and then suddenly the next thing you're just down in the dumps, and then you're through the roof, and then
Oh
you're
yeah,
down.
no, totally. I mean, it's an emotional roller coaster of notes, and everything else takes a back seat to it, and it becomes your baby, you know, and you want to look after your baby, but your baby consumes your life, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But I mean, I still wouldn't give it up for anything because you'll never experience the highs doing corporate work that you will when it's your own baby and your baby takes its first step, or you get a first client, or any level of success is just,
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate
Yes.
with your business. I mean,
It's literally like another child.
yeah. So it's very
Rewarding,
time-consuming, but it's very rewarding.
No, completely agreed.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that your businesses have disrupted the two industries that you're in? Anyway?
I think that they are still too small to have caused any real disruption, but they have the ability to, certainly, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, in both cases.
Become a headache for your
Yes, I mean,
industry.
especially venue sourcing. It take a little bit longer because what we're finding is that it's a completely new thing, a new idea in South Africa to have a venue sourcing agent. People are used to having event planners, but they don't really understand what it is that we do or how we work.
Yeah.
So to try and explain to them that, you know, we source venues for you so you don't have to do it, and we get commission from the venue, so you're not paying us. It's like using a travel agent.
Yeah.
You know, we get commissions and kickbacks from
Yeah.
them, you're not going to pay, and they're very fearful of that. And it's very much about educating them and saying, you know, stop telling us to do your venue sourcing and then you're doing your own venue sourcing on the side, because it's not, it's completely
Redundant.
yeah.
You don't need to.
You don't need to, like, you're not going to
Just
pay anything
trust
extra. So yeah, I mean, it's a struggle, but I think once we get there, then yes, it will be very disruptive because, you know, then we will have the market.
Yeah.
And once you have people at the top of the funnel,
Yeah.
then everything else flows from that.
Very good. And so, okay, we already discussed funding for your business. How did you go about finding customers? Because I know you mentioned for Lawyer Up, you were on the phone, just obviously trying to get the lawyers on.
Yeah,
But
I was
then
getting the lawyers on.
The consumers, end consumers, how?
Mainly, so initially we did direct marketing, so literally approaching small businesses directly, cold calling them, going and meeting with them, which I think is very valuable to do for any business, any small business that you're starting. We did the same with Event Room, but they were referring the big corporates and saying, you know.
So where did you get the contact details from? Just from?
With Event Room, we bought a database, and then we also had a whole bunch of our own contacts just from previous work that I've done. And with Moira, we just Googled.
Yeah.
We just Googled small businesses, and then we phoned them and said, listen, we've got this service, can we come tell you about it? And mostly they were like, yeah, because if you tell people you're going to save them money and you're going to make their lives easier, then especially as a small business, you want to hear about that.
Yeah. Because I
So
think a lot of businesses get stuck, especially entrepreneurs, on the side of the sales, because they might be good operationally, they might have a great idea, and they may have built this beautiful concept, but then they're not salespeople. So it doesn't help. You have this amazing idea and all of that, and everything's set up, and you're just waiting for customers to come. So it's the hard dog work of the yucky work of picking up the phone, speaking to somebody that slams the phone down 20 times and waiting for that one yes.
yeah.
But it does work.
Yeah, I mean, it's you've got to kind of have the personality to be able to take those knocks, and being a salesperson is not everyone's forte. That's really, like my sister just hated it and was not able to do it at all.
Yeah. We've got a few clients they don't do selling, so we build them websites, they rank on page 1 of Google, and the phone just rings and they, hello, yes, I'll be there. But not all websites are in an industry that will rank so easily. Because it has to be fairly low.
With Lawyer Up, though, it's very difficult to get the kind of client that you want if you're doing digital marketing, because we were targeted specifically at small businesses. We didn't want to do a lot of personal because it's just more taxing and it takes more time and there's less money. So it's very difficult to get your targeting on point. It takes time, to really drill down and get to the right client. But we did eventually. The direct sales is just obviously more effective. It's faster.
So I heard somebody say, don't chase yeses. So your target has to be, okay, 20 no's will be the next one I'll get a sale. So you chase your 20 no's. So you're like, oh yes, okay, another no, that's one closer to my yes. And so you need to, I gotta know, yoo-hoo, okay, I'm on target. Okay,
That's a
what
very
is gonna be a
interesting
yes?
way of looking at it. I think if you can do that, then
helps your psyche a little bit.
Yeah,
Get over the
you'd be very well advised to think like that, but I'm not sure how easy that would be practically, because I can tell you from experience you're not excited about the no.
Screw you.
You just want to own the bottle of wine at 3 in the morning and be like, I'm just scratch! But yeah, that's the only difference between somebody who makes it and somebody who doesn't. So people always say, it's what's the secret, and how do you? And it's like, I just didn't open the bottle of wine. I kept it closed and I picked up the phone again instead. That's literally the secret. There you go. That's it. Just keep going.
Don't pick up the TV remote and go, all right, I'm just watching TV now.
Yeah. Then you will fail.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference. Obviously, your idea has to be good. Like, you can't have a crappy idea.
Yeah.
But just you have to really swallow your pride. Be willing to do the dog work, as you call it, because that's what it's all about at the beginning. And even now, we've been doing it for 2 years now, and it's still about most of my life is dog work.
There's no glory in it.
Yeah, it's not glam. Like, I had to go buy the milk today.
Yeah.
You're like, where's my PA? Why don't I have a PA? Why am I not rich?
I know.
I don't understand. I'm doing this with my yacht.
I know.
And it's not like that. Your employees are like, where are milk?
I know. When I started my company, it was like, when are we getting a fridge? I was like, I can't afford a fridge.
Yeah.
I found a fridge for you for 2,000 rand. 2,000 rand!
Yeah,
Are you joking?
Get a lot, just put it outside the cold.
It's cold. Buy smaller bottles of milk that it won't go off.
Yeah.
I know.
That's literally it's not.
But eventually we got the fridge and the microwave.
Yeah, we're eventually getting our proper offices now.
Moving up.
Moving up to the small victories. We're going to start opening venues now. There's a lot of stuff that's on the horizon now. Once you start to pick up pace, I'm sure that's what you found as well, is like in the beginning it's really slow.
Yeah.
And then like year 1 and 2 is really, really
Exactly.
hard.
I think I was telling Nanga that when I first started my business, I only had 2 clients, so I was like, I remember like half begging people, please can I do your marketing, please?
Yeah.
I just don't have
I'll do
any
it for
work.
free.
And I realized later, oh no, people don't want to give work to people who don't have work. So then I started doing a lot of free work, and then I was busier, and then you have more energy. There's this energy that
Yeah.
one of my good friends actually gave me that advice. He said, do a lot of free work in the beginning when you've got lots of time. Well, in the services industry, like me with an agency.
Yeah.
Because then at least you generate this vibe of saying, oh, I just finished this website and I just finished this project.
Yes.
No one needs to know it was for free, you know.
Yeah. No,
But-
that's exactly the same as us. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as we're busy, it's better for everyone involved, even if you don't make the sale. I think it's not, you know, we've kind of realized that we are in the sales industry.
It's true.
We're selling venues.
Yeah.
So.
And this busyness creates an energy, although it starts to get to the point where you can be so frantic that you're never taking the time to stop and think. So like on Thursday I've got a thinking day, I've scheduled a thinking day.
With
I
your
have-
whole team.
No, just by myself.
Oh.
I'm just going to think. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I've got these big pieces of paper and I'm going to draw the vision for my 3 different businesses. I'm going to draw them up on this, you know, to just try and get...
Work on your business, not in your
Exactly.
business.
To try and get like a future roadmap of where we're going to, visualize the whole thing,
Yeah.
and actually take some time out from always frantically chasing work and doing work to
Yeah.
actually like doing some strategic thinking.
Yeah, it is difficult. You do tend to get caught up. That's another lovely thing though about having great investors is that
Yeah.
they kind of are able to sit back and take a bird's eye view of the company, and
They're
they're
not
also
involved in the noise.
yeah, and they're generally really smart and
Mm.
successful because otherwise they wouldn't have the money to do it. So
Yeah.
they really are able to look and go.
But I think that's why it's so important to pick the right investor, because you need to pick an investor that's got connections within your industry, or at least connected to the right people, can support you in a way, whatever your gap is with you and your partner, they need to come and augment that, you know, so it's not just somebody with money,
Yeah, no,
it's somebody
we
with
don't-
money who can open doors or
Yeah.
give strategic inputs and that.
Yeah, you need 3 things from your investors, and that's connectivity, mentorship, and funding, not just funding.
The funding, yes, agreed, yeah.
And you need to choose your investors wisely. Don't just go for the first person who offers you money,
So true.
because the money doesn't actually help you that much.
Mm.
I mean, obviously money always helps you, but you still don't know what you're doing. So it's nicer when you get an investor who gives you money and says, but do this and that. And also there's this opportunity here that you can look at. You know,
Yeah.
that's a lot more valuable.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, so I think let's jump into some questions from some of our viewers. So, as usual, we've had some from Twitter and some emails and some comments on some of the different platforms. Okay, so question number 1. How do I legally collaborate with other businesses while keeping credit of your idea and project?
Is this something you want me to answer or you want to answer?
Jump right in.
Okay, so you are basically talking there about an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that you would sign, or a confidentiality agreement if you wanted to. I think that's where she's going with this. I don't personally believe in NDAs. I've never signed one, and I never will. But a lot of people are very holy over their ideas because they think that that's
I know, that's
where
what
the value lies.
is. All South Africans say, I'm going to tell you, I've got this amazing idea, I'm going to tell you,
Yeah,
you're going to steal it. And I'm like, you have no idea how difficult it is to make a successful business. If you knew, you wouldn't be saying that.
Exactly.
Because
there's no
it's
value
so
in the
hard.
idea. It's
It's
only
so
in the
true.
execution.
Yeah.
So if you aren't telling everyone your idea, you're a fool, in my opinion, because also you want to get their feedback. Like if you've got a crap idea and you're sitting on it and you think it's this gold mine,
yeah.
then you should probably be told that. Like, and don't tell your mommy, because she's going to tell you it's great. You
It's
need
like
to be
when-
telling everyone.
When I designed my first logo myself on Photoshop,
You're
because
a
I'm
designer.
No! I did a course.
It's a bad idea.
It was about a 3-day course that qualified me. Just the most beautiful, everybody was like, wow.
Yeah. I'm
And
sure
there's
it was
a
your mom and your sister and your dad, and they're like,
Exactly. So clever. And I put that thing everywhere, business cards. Oh no, it's so cringeworthy to look at it now. It was literally a shift key and a 1 key with a little X. It was a shift and a 1.
It sounds
It was
earth-shattering.
it was horrible. And then many years later, when I finally got a professional designer to do it, I asked my one graphic designer friend, I was like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, I just didn't have the heart. But yeah, I think, Kaylin, thank you for your question. I think absolutely, don't worry. Don't spend so much energy worrying about people who are going to steal your idea, because it takes a lot of blood, sweat and tears to make, all of these planets have to align. It's the planet of having a good idea in the first place, getting the execution right is so difficult. That means the right web developer, the right user experience, the right color scheme, the right layout, the right flow, the right graphic design, the right wording. Okay, so there's 10 planets in that little one. And then you start to find clients and get them to, and then you have to have your operations sorted out, your finance sorted out, your marketing sorted out, and your HR sorted out, and your staff sorted out, and everything. So there's so many things that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur that if somebody does steal your idea and does it better than you, they probably would have done it better than you in any case.
Yeah.
But if you are worried about that, just go and get an NDA. And I've got a number of clients prospective clients that send me NDAs, and I sign them happily, But yeah, I also used to fear that people would steal my idea until I actually started a business. I realized how much of a ball ache it is.
Yeah, that people often ask me, what's, or my investor actually said, what's the barrier to entry for somebody who wants to come and steal your idea?
Yeah.
And I just said, they could try.
Yeah.
They just please
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Because
huge amounts of hard work and sacrifice.
like it's going to take them a really long time, and it's going to take them, they're going to have a really special skill set, and they're going to have to give up everything else that they're doing. So, I mean, and it's just like, they're welcome to have it, I've got lots of other ideas. I'll gladly tell you every single one.
You seem to have good ideas, because you've got you started 2 companies, and they both
they're not
doing well.
Yeah, I mean, ideas are really easy to come by. We are so far behind the US.
You'd be amazed. Lots of people are reaching out saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't have an idea.
Oh my God, just go and look at businesses in the US. And then, there's a company in Germany, Rocket Internet, and all they do is copy business ideas and then replicate them, and they are billionaires.
Yeah.
They've got the yacht already. Screw them. But you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Don't try. Well, that would be my advice, probably, because I'm not very creative. But don't spend your time trying to come up with this really novel. Just copy something.
And not Facebook. Don't copy Facebook, because if I get another email of someone saying they've got the next Facebook.
The next Facebook, right? Or the Uber for something. I'm going to cry if somebody says they've got the next Uber for something. But
although I did have a great idea for Uber for something.
Oh my God, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
I'll tell you, but you have to sign my NDA first.
Sure.
Okay. From Nathan van Niekerk, how do you develop a pricing strategy that competes with competitors but sets you apart? So how do you develop a pricing strategy that competes but sets you apart? So what are you saying, Nathan? Are you trying to be competitive? Because if you're trying to be competitive, that means you're either cheaper or on a par.
Yeah.
But you're also saying, but I want to be different. So then if you want to be different, that for me comes back to brand discussions. If you look at our last 2 Ask DK shows, I spoke a lot about branding and how your brand needs to set you apart. If your brand doesn't set you apart, then people buy from you because of price. So if you don't have a value offering, in other words, people don't know why they should buy from you except for your price. So I'm not sure if you've got any insights there on pricing strategy.
Not really. I mean, I kind of agree with you. It's, for me, we didn't really, I wouldn't say that our pricing strategy was a focus. It's just something that kind of happened because of the nature of both the businesses. So with Lawyer Up, the whole idea was to provide legal services that were the same quality as the big law firms, but a lot less expensive, simply by virtue of the fact that the lawyers were freelancers. So, I mean, that was a great pricing strategy, if that's what you want to call it. It's not like I sat down and thought, oh yeah, this is my pricing strategy. It was just, that was the whole idea, was that it was this great pricing strategy. But like you say, if people don't know why they should buy from you, so within that you have to have, and that's what we try and do, is the value add as well as the pricing. So, our pricing is better by virtue of the fact that we're smaller, we use smaller people. Same thing with the event room, we don't charge the client, we charge business.
Yeah.
And we make it life easier in both cases. So it's not
that's
more
the
efficient to
value.
use us, and that's the value. So
Yeah. When I
try and
started,
find both.
yeah, I agree. When I started Shift One, we were cheaper, so we just went, the undercut model. But that was because we were figuring out what we were doing, and I was learning and trying to work out, the value, and the benefit. But as we got better, our pricing got better. But I do think that you're absolutely right, Nathan. Start with something and then see if the market will bear it, and see if you can get a client. If you can't get clients, then you're going to have to look at your offering
and your value.
Yeah, and do your research. So you've mentioned here competitors, so it's all a factor of doing your research. Like you spent a lot of time doing all the research and looking around.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a good 4 months, I would say, just doing research.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy now when you think about it, but if you think about how much you have to learn to be an entrepreneur, when you're doing a job, you're really focused and you're only doing one thing. So if you're an accountant, you're doing accounts, and if you're a lawyer, you're doing law. But when you're an entrepreneur, you have to learn this huge spectrum and be a kind of jack of all trades. And there's just so much information that you have to take in and just kind of know a little bit about everything, or enough to at least know how much you don't know.
It's true.
So, that would be the best advice that I could give anyone, is like, really, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you really have to start with that solid foundation of understanding all the things that you're going to have to get to grips with.
Yeah, not only within the industry, but then also, like you're saying, all the other pillars that come into play, like knowing accounts, understanding operations, HR, marketing.
Yeah, just marketing. I mean, that's your speciality.
Yeah.
But for me, I knew nothing about marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing was just this, abstract term. And then I started researching business marketing, and that's all I really knew how to Google. And then it was like, well, you've got above the line and below the line, and then above the line is broken down into these 700 sections, and below the line it's all of this, and in each one of these sections there's another thing, and you're just like, oh my God, and that's why you realize the value of a marketing specialist like yourself, because you just can't do everything, but you at least have to know, you have to speak the language.
Yeah.
So you have to be
but
able to
also-
say, we need a digital marketing campaign.
That's exactly what I was going to say. At some point, I realized, okay, finance is just not my
Oh my God,
strength. So I've partnered with various outsourced finance people, and now I've got a really nice company that I've partnered with, outsourced CFO. I'm very excited.
I've heard of them actually.
Yeah, I'll connect you. They're amazing. And
Well,
they
I've
do-
got an accountant because I mean, my sister was doing all of that when she was part of the business because she's a qualified CA.
Oh, wow.
But it's like not my field at all. And I still, after it's been explained to me at least 500 times what a trial balance is, and I still don't really understand what it is. Probably because my brain just switches off as soon as I start talking about it. So I got an accountant, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I'm like, okay, fine, I can't just call myself a CEO. I actually have to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And do number things, Like,
Even when
actually
she sends me
open
the
your
management
spreadsheet.
accounts, I'm like, can't you just tell me if it's okay? Like, I don't
I
want to
know, for the
know.
longest time I was just tell me if we're doing okay. I just don't even want to know all the details.
I hope my investors don't watch this. Actually, I look at the management accounts all the
She
time.
does.
Study
Same
them.
way.
And the trial balance.
She loves it.
And the financial statement.
Income statement.
Yeah, and all that. Balance sheets.
Exactly. No, I'm with you on that one. So I think so. The point is, if you're not the greatest at something, get somebody who is. One thing that I learned, because I cracked myself when I paid that first accounting invoice to my accountant. I thought I could never afford this person, but somehow I could afford it. Not only could I afford it, but my business went on to another level.
Yeah.
And what I realized was when I outsourced to an accountant, it had freed me. I mean, it used to take me days to wrap up the month invoicing. There was always this like tension in the air with the team as I was, what is going on with this? I can't issue an invoice at like 11 o'clock at night on a Friday when they're like trying to watch movies.
did that.
I was doing everything on Excel. And so when I started outsourcing and we got a proper little system going, suddenly I had more time to do sales and the business just boomed.
Yeah, well, that's
And
exactly
it
it.
was,
You can't do everything yourself.
Exactly.
So, and you're never going to succeed doing that.
and I think that's
Yeah,
a big point to micro entrepreneurs out there. A lot of micro entrepreneurs don't want to grow past just one person, and that's totally fine. But for those of you who want to grow, I wrote a blog called "You won't grow until you let go."
Yeah.
And you just have to start letting go and sucking it up and paying some specialists and outsourcing, and then it'll take your business to the next level.
I mean, obviously, and people are always like, okay, but I can't afford it, and I can't pay someone, and then you've got funding, and you're so lucky, or that's so easy. And that, you know, that is how I pay for stuff is through my funding, which, by the way, was not easy. So, if all of you who say that, but you start. I mean, there's different ways to grow your business, and not all businesses start out with funding. They start out with one client, and then
that was
from
me.
home. You know?
Bootstrapped from my bond.
Yeah,
Just took it out the bond.
that's an important term, bootstrapping. People should look that up. I'm sure you've covered it in a previous session. Just telling you.
it's a big thing.
Google.
Yeah, and don't go and get these huge expensive offices, you know,
No,
work from my
it's-
kitchen, then a co-working space. and-
Yeah. Yeah.
So like start small and humble.
And use your pension money. So, I don't know why you invited me on the show.
Okay, so what advice would you give somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur at this stage? So your biggest, I know everyone always says what's your biggest lessons, but is there something that you could help someone, one or two ideas that or things that you've learned on your journey that if they could learn it now would save them some time? Shortcuts.
I mean, there's like a million things that's such a hard question to answer, and people always ask me that. But I think there's a lot of people. I have a lot of friends since I've started these businesses, and they have had, and I always say relative success because you know everything's relative. I wouldn't necessarily consider them a huge success yet because I don't know the art.
I hope they're not watching.
Yeah. So anyway, but they will.
Well, not you. She's not talking about you. She's talking about the other friend.
Yeah. So, but then my friends will come to me, and now all of a sudden, you know, they're asking my advice on how to start a business. Even this is kind of surreal. People like you asking me advice because I still think of myself as this semi-idiot who doesn't know anything. Really.
Just stumbled into it.
Just kind of googled my way into being an entrepreneur. But they'll all come to me and they'll say, oh, I've got this great idea and I'm going to start it on the side. And I always think, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
You can't start it on the side. It's always going to be a hobby thing. It's never going to be
A thing.
a real business because it's just impossible from my experience to do something on the side. I mean, you can kind of test the waters on the side, so I would definitely recommend that, and maybe that's the best piece of advice that I could give.
Build a website and see if just organically someone finds it and fulfill on it.
Test your market before you spend a shit ton of money like doing anything. So it's a really easy way to test the market. I did this for my dad actually because my dad then came to me and he was like, oh, I've got this brilliant idea.
So your dad came to you?
So my dad came to me and he said,
He's got a great
I've really got this great idea for this business, and you know, now that you've started these two businesses, you know how to do it, so just tell me. And I said to him, okay, well, before you do anything, you need to know if people will use this service, because it was a service-based business. So I said, let's just test the market, like really quickly and easily. Made a Facebook page, and we did a Facebook ad for 350 Rand advertising the service. The service doesn't exist yet, but we just, my boyfriend's a graphic designer, so he designed us an ad like this was a real business. And we gave it a name and everything, and a fake website, and like everything. And then we said, this is how it works. And it was just a Facebook ad, and it was 350 Rand. And I said, let's just see. So we just boosted it for 350 Rand, and we got 2 clients.
No way.
I promise you. And then we were like, oh shit.
Wow.
Now we've got these clients.
And we started a thing.
And then we had to like respond and say, hi, and so that we didn't have email addresses or anything set up because it was literally just a quick test. So I quickly created an email address with the, at blah 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 dot z dot z. And then I replied to our client and I was like, dear Mr. So-and-so, thank you for your interest in care and blah 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 blah. And then we were like, now we have to find people to actually do the service. So then we like scrambled around to quickly find somebody to fill the need.
Wow, that's
And then we discovered that there was this huge market of people who wanted to fill the need. So then I was like, okay, that's validation of the idea. You know, that's a really easy way to validate your idea. And then you kind of, that way you get rid of all this bullshit about planning and business plans and this and that and just
all the barriers that are stopping, all the reasons like I can't do a business plan, I can't do market research. I don't know website design.
It's so easy actually to like just put it out there and see if people use it, and then once they come back to you, you're forced to make it happen. And then you'll learn really quickly because I mean, and that's what I did. And obviously I had the experience then of building a website and everything like that before, but I had no experience in this industry. So then you have to learn that whole new industry, and you learn it really quickly because you have to, you've got clients. So you're like, oh shit, now I've told these people that I can do this service, I better bloody well do it. And then...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing. So is that a fully functioning business or is it
So, well, this is the thing. So then he was, my dad was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And my business is alive, yay. So now just do everything else. And I was like, and then I said to him that it doesn't work like that. Now I've proven, I've validated the concept for you, the market is there, it's a great idea. You can do more testing if you want, or you can build your website, you can do whatever, but I'm sure as hell not doing anything more. I can assist you, but I'm not physically doing it because I can't do, I mean at that stage I was doing 2, I certainly wasn't going to do a 3rd. And then he said, I'll do it on the side. And then it never happened. Because, that's why I say you can't do it on the side, because he didn't realize. He was like, I'll just do it on the side. And I was like, okay, you've got 500 applicants that you need to respond to and process.
Wow.
And then he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I posted an ad for you, requesting applications. And he's now got more than 900.
Has he done anything with it?
No, because he doesn't have the time, and it's a slog, and you have to, then I was like, so then we were dealing with like a lower LSM, the applicants, because it was care workers. So then you find all sorts of new challenges because you send them, so you have to process all these applicants, right? So you send them a Word document with questions. But they all are using phones. None of them have a computer, so they can't.
And it's their data, and they.
Yeah, so they can't fill it out. So then you have to think of a really creative way to get the information without using your Word document that you've been using in your other 2 businesses. So then I was like, what can I use? And then I found SurveyMonkey, and then I just used SurveyMonkey to create an online form, so they filled it in online. So then that's,
So you can run his business on the side.
He was like, there you go. And I was like, okay, well, now you've got the form and you've got all the information. Now you need to get that information onto a website.
You see, but this is the problem. He's not experiencing any of these pains.
No.
And so,
He
that delicious pain.
Yeah, he thinks it's like super easy that I've now got him these 600 applicants, and he's like, I'm going to be so rich. And I'm like, well, you will be, but it's going to be a lot of work. Like, you don't realize how difficult this is going to be. Just getting documentation and stuff from these people is going to be an absolute nightmare. And I'm not doing it for you, so now he says he's going to do it when he retires, which is in 2 years. Then you'll have time, and then he'll pick it up.
And I hope you all gained a lot of value. I learned a lot from sitting with you, Moira. Thank you. It's been very insightful. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And
for having me.
Thanks everyone who's watching. And please pop us some questions. If you want to pop Moira some questions, you can just write your questions in the comments. And Moira, as our first guest on the show, we would like to
give me a goodie bag.
Yes, it's just still all the items are still at the shop.
But
the quick. Got a bottle of wine for you.
Oh my gosh, that's the
the
best present ever.
Just don't pick it up.
No,
pick up the phone. Pick up the wine.
These are top tips,
These are
guys.
top tips,
You can't pay for advice like that.
Exactly. So yeah, is there any closing advice you'd like to give our viewers?
I think just the relentlessness.
I love that relentlessness.
You just gotta be gritty and relentless, and don't ever think that it's outside of your talent, or you're not smart enough, or you're not talented enough, or you're not, because it's not about that. It's actually just about doing a lot of shitty work and
I agree.
carrying on even when everyone tells you that you're wrong. That this is never gonna work, or
I think so. I think the
Love that.
tortoise and the hare, I've always felt more like the tortoise. And a lot of people smarter than me, but they never started the race, and a whole bunch of them never finished the race. And there I am just plodding on and carrying on, and I just say I walk and push, just carry on walking and pushing. If you hit a wall, then you just find where there's no resistance.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Like I'm always just doing this and then finding my way through.
Like least resistance.
Yeah, I suppose that's why I feel like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous that anyone would ask for my advice. They have on multiple occasions. I'm not sure
You're doing
why.
something right.
Yeah, just don't stop. That's
No,
it.
I think you've given some really good tips. I love what you said about the Facebook test.
Yeah,
I
it's
absolutely love it.
really
Spend
simple.
$300 and see if you've got a market.
Yeah, and I mean Facebook is so great these days. With the targeting that you can do, you can make it really targeted to who you want to
Yeah.
get a response from. So it's a really great tool, and it's easy enough for even me to use. Like it's not like PPC, which I
Yeah.
don't even know there. That's
No.
for professional only.
Yeah.
But Facebook makes it super easy. It will literally take you an afternoon to test your
I
idea.
I agree.
And then you're in business or you're not. That's a really quick
I love it.
litmus test.
I think that's a brilliant idea. Thank you, Moira. Thanks to our viewers, and that's it for the show. And we'll catch you next week for episode 11 of Ask BK. Have a wonderful week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Moira.
I hope the show helps.
Yeah.